Welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast, with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. We've made it, and I am so excited to get up and just draw breath another morning. It is Thursday, and I am so happy to be on the show this morning to give you your daily dose of vitamin Dr. D. Right. Everybody needs a little bit more sunshine in their life, and mostly me. So I'm excited to come and talk to you and continue the discussion that we've started this week about truth and really owning, knowing, and experiencing truth through the experiences that I have had. And as I was explaining and sharing the whole concept again to Walking Through Glass, the podcast and the pending book, to another beautiful soul, it just resonates with me so much more every single time. And this journey that I've been on to really unmask some hidden beliefs that were not adding value to my conscious mindset and to my conscious endeavors. And that is really key, is that when we are really starting to dig through some truths, that they can get really ugly. They can get ugly, and you can really reveal some things about yourself that maybe you don't want to deal with right now. But just because you don't want to deal with it doesn't mean that it's not a truth. And I'm excited to just share with you this journey. It gives me the giggles because it's like I'm learning myself and falling more and more in love with myself every single day. Yeah, seriously. It's like every day that I spend time alone, really pulling back the layers, really processing who I am as a person, as a mom, as a business owner, as a speaker, as a storyteller, as the catalyst that usually helps other people shift. As I pull back those layers and use those same talents and gifts on myself, there's this incredible movement, this incredible shift that has been needed and very necessary in my life. And coming on every day, Monday through Friday, to bring you your daily dose of vitamin Dr. D has really transformed my consistency in walking in my truth and owning my gift. So before I was coming on every day, well, let me back up real quick, because we're about telling the truth. So when I had the vision, of Walking Through Glass, the podcast, when I shifted from LA Talk Radio, and that show was Get Real with Dr. Dina. Fantastic. Love doing live radio. May do it again one day, but I knew that I also liked podcasting. And so I said, okay, I'll podcast as well, but I had zero consistency. Didn't really share it, didn't really upload, didn't put things together. So when I left LA Talk Radio, and I said, I was driving down the street and I was working on a project in my head and just verbalizing it. And so let me take a real quick sidebar for those people who are always looking for ways to find more time to get more things done and to work on their projects. One of the key things to do in those instances is to actually use your driving time. So if I'm working on a talk or a speech or a program, I will actually spend the time in the car, recording it, listening to it, working on key points, etc. Maybe listening to some other sort of research-based, not necessarily listening to books or listening to specific podcasts, unless that's where my research or it has information I need. But I began to use that car time. And when I couldn't write because it's not safe, I then also used that time to record my thoughts. Because sometimes I would be in a car for about an hour. And so I would just be recording my thoughts and putting it all on tape for me to go back to later. Now, fast forward to Walking Through Glass, the book, which is where it started. I literally was driving and I had been working on another book, and I just, it was one of those days I just kept saying, God, I keep getting these calls from very powerful women, very outwardly confident women who are making a difference in the world, in their communities. But unfortunately, when they call me and they pull their mask off, they're so broken. And like I shared yesterday, and if you didn't listen yesterday, go back and listen to it, is that broken women try to break other women. And I just said, I don't want to be a broken woman to the point where I'm breaking down other women. So yeah, there's some broken pieces, but I meant so broken that I'm breaking down other women. So I looked at the roles that these women have, and they're CEOs, they're COOs, they're CFOs, they're multi-million-dollar business owners. But yet, when they come to have conversation with me, and they show the inner, oh my gosh, it's completely opposite than the outer. Is that they talk about their frustrations, their pain, their anxiety, their insecurities, and all of these things. And I'm literally sitting there shocked. And I said, you have that corner seat. You have the corner office. And those of us on the outside that don't sit in those corporate roles will say, wow, they have it all. They have the job, they have the husband, they have the 2.5 children, the sports car, the vacations twice a year. But when I sat down and began to have conversations, I realized that it wasn't breaking the glass ceiling, and it wasn't the money that was the issue, because they had that. It was that now that the ceiling was broken and they are in that position, it was walking in the glass every day. The glass of depression, the fear, the phobias, the disbelief, and people questioning you questioning yourself, that inner critic just beating you up every day, wondering if you're enough, if you make a mistake, what does that mean? It just goes on and on. The litany goes on and on. And so as I was driving, as I started this story, I was driving and I was thinking about that. I literally pulled my car over, and I grabbed my notepad that I always keep in my purse, and I just started writing it down. And it was like I just got a divine download. God just said, ploop. And I said, you know what? I'm going to write the book, and it's called Walking Through Glass. How to be sane, sexy, and significant in a male-dominated world. Because our sanity is tied to our clarity. And that comes from being very clear and focused on who we are. And our sexiness comes from our confidence. There is nothing more sexy than confidence. Doesn't matter your size, doesn't matter your height, your skin complexion, what beauty marks you do or don't have. There's nothing more sexy than confidence. And then it was, again, the significance. But significance can only be bred from consistently showing up and delivering and making a difference. And I said, and I literally tears just streamed down my eyes, because I kept saying, what's that? My signature book, because I have stories in my head and books in my head, and I help other women birth their stories. But I said, what's that signature book that's going to be the guidebook to help us walk through the glass? So again, in beginning tying everything together, working on the book, and I've had several iterations of it, and it was never quite right because it didn't have the stories in it. It didn't have my stories in it. People didn't understand why I was writing, why I was talking, and even how I could relate and connect to the women that it was speaking to. So in the midst of doing, talk radio, still doing that, I began to think about how I wanted to bring my branding together. And the Lead Her Shift movement had already been started in 2017. And I said, okay, it's time to start really focusing on what does that movement look like? What is our anchor? And the anchor was and is the Walking Through Glass book, which birthed the Walking Through Glass podcast, and which also helps facilitate the Walking Through Glass conscious conversations that are live. I just literally began to see how all of these pieces came together. But in all of their beauty and their brilliance and seeing it all come together, there still was a missing piece. And here's the truth of the matter. Anything that we are dealing with, anything that we are doing, anything that we're pouring our heart into, it has to have the essence of you in it to manifest to the heights in which it's supposed to go. Say that one more time. Anything that you are putting and building and creating that's a representation of you has to have the essence and the heart of you in it. And people have to see it, you have to talk about it, and you have to become transparent and authentic to share so people can have a transformation and not only be able to connect with you, communicate with you, and if you're selling something, now they will buy from you. So in this journey, in this process, and looking at different writings, because I'm such a private person, I would share general stories. But what I never shared was my painful truth. I didn't share the seeds that planted it. I shared the plants of the movement, beginning to see the fruits of my effort. But the seeds is what I kept buried and hidden. And it was those seeds that I didn't share about how and why my growth trajectory was what was inspiring me and fueling me based on where I had been planted and transplanted, was what was holding me back from really operating and executing in that space. So I've had the clarity of what my mission is to inspire, empower, and transform lives. That's clear. Very confident that that's what I'm called to do. And then each and every day, I am going to do everything in my power to make a difference and stand in that space and own that space, in spite, despite, no matter what anyone else says about what they think I should be doing. I am very confident in that what. But the part that had been really a little seesawy, a little shaky, I don't know about you, but for me it was the consistency piece, is showing up every day consistently, having people depend on me every day to bring them a little something, a little message. Because when I initially thought about the show, the podcast, I said, I want to do every day daily little notes to help inspire people and help them really get their day going. And then, you know what happened? I started doing it. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't get a chance to do it because I got busy. I didn't get a chance to do it, or I'll try to do it later. Or maybe I'll pre-record a few of them and post them, which is, I'm not saying that's something bad to do. But I knew when I initially created the concept of the show, it was to bring you that daily dose of the now. But yet in the beginning, I couldn't consistently do that. I didn't commit. And then I didn't really even add the personal touch. It wasn't like me telling you the story and helping you understand how. I constantly get asked the question, Dina, how do you do blank? Are you going to write a parenting book? Because I see your relationship with Xavier. Are you eventually? But then I thought about it. Really, I parent every day. I support businesswomen every day. I optimize organizations every day. And me walking through that glass, which can be very treacherous, at times, is that's what I had to share. And so when I began to truly share what it was like and what I was thinking and dealing with in that part of the journey, which was also my journey, my truth, which is there to inspire you as you walk through your journey and your truth, that's when the show became alive. That's when I have begun to see a consistent growth and people listening. Why? Because every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes a bonus Saturday, those 15-minute nuggets, 20-minute nuggets, I get the feedback where they say, thank you. This has been on my mind and my heart and my spirit. And when I heard you talk about this and that and how, see, it's not just the challenge of what I've been doing. It's the takeaways. It's the takeaways of here's something that you can do today to make a shift and a difference in your life today. Today. You see, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So, in order for you to really, truly optimize your opportunities, you have to deal with your truths. You have to pull back those layers. You have to spend some quiet time. You have to find a way to go and work on the inner woman so that the outer diva can shine. 5 minutes to start. And it starts with just being quiet. You don't have to talk to yourself. I do. But you don't have to talk to yourself. Be quiet. Be quiet and listen. And if you have a dream, have a goal, have a wish, have a desire for something, then it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. If that is what you are called to do, begin to put the systems in place to get there. And every time you take a step, if you're finding resistance or you're finding yourself hard, like in a stall, then chances are there's some subconscious beliefs that you need to work on. There's some hidden truths and what I call phantom limbs that are buried there that you need to deal with so you can grow to your next level, so you can truly thrive and make your next steps and move forward. So here's your challenge today on this Transformation Thursday, right? Your Transformation Thursday is begin to speak your truth. Begin to identify what the one or two, or if you have the 3 singular things are that define who you are, meaning you defining that in this season. You see, it doesn't have to be the same thing that it was 5 years ago. That's where the lie is. That's not the truth. We change, we grow, we elevate, we shift. So get quiet so that you can become transformative and you can spend the time that you need loving yourself on purpose and with purpose. And my final point is don't allow your ego to interfere with your excellence. You might think you have it all together. You might think that you've done it all. But here's the thing. We all have some skeletons or some phantoms in our closet. And we all have some room to grow. We all make mistakes. And guess what? If we can live and draw breath to take another day, we all have an opportunity to do better. Not because other people, because we owe it to ourselves. So that is what I have for you today on Walking Through Glass, the podcast, which is available on Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Music Play, and our host, of course, Podbean. I encourage you to truly love yourself on purpose with purpose so that you can live your best life every day and share this podcast with someone else who needs that little bit more sunshine in their life. This is Dr. Dina saying, have a transformative Thursday. Bye-bye.